Welcome to the forecast. To my right, we have AP18 Alex. How you doing?
Hello, everyone.
And to my left, GW himself, Garrett. How you doing?
Doing good.
This is the Wednesday Comics forecast, telling you the comic books coming out for June 27th, 2018, the last Wednesday in June before we head off to the 4th of July. Hey, the next week it'll be 4th of July. It's a holiday. So,
holy snap.
The fourth week of June, it's not the once in a while fifth week, it looks like. I think, don't we have one of those coming up here soon? No, not for 2 more months. Okay, never mind. Here we go. Here we're going to tell you what the comics coming out and see what you need to pick up. Image Comics, we have first Descender number 31. This is a great series. I'm fully caught up on this thing. Jeff Lemire and Dustin Wynn, The End of the Universe, Part 3. Is anybody looking at the solicit right now?
No.
I'm not looking at this list. I'm just looking at the cover.
It says Part 3 and then -Tim-21. Is that his full name, or is this a Part 3 and then Tim-21 is a different part of it?
No, Tim-21 is the kid's name.
Okay.
With the hyphen. They
have an extra hyphen in here then. It says 3-Tim-21, and I don't think that's his full name. So meets his maker literally. The Descenders are here, and only Tim can save the universe from their apocalyptic judgment. For from out of the far reaches of the universe, the Ganatian king may be the wild card that no one saw coming. The penultimate issue of Descender is filled with shocks, twists, and goodbyes.
Wow. Did not know this is wow.
And hints
I thought they were just joking it was the end.
Things to come. Well, I knew it was the end. I'm caught up with this thing, and I knew the way it was going. But Alex, are you caught up with Descender, and how's it going?
I am caught up on it.
See, were you expecting this to end? This book you guys been talking about for a while. Now here we are close to the end.
When I was reading number 30, I was wondering, maybe it is coming closer to an end, but that seems a lot of information to throw into what is now 2 issues left. This book is really good, but I'm kind of surprised by that. And actually, the end of issue 30 felt like a Jeff Lemire book. It had some heartfelt stuff in it. I'm kind of blown away that there's only 2 issues left.
Yeah, they kind of pulled our. I thought like the end storyline was, like any other comic says the end, just means end of this like big part, but then we're going to the next part. So that's surprising. But it's been a great book. Yeah, but I agree, 2 issues. But there's a lot of information they throw out in each issue, so I'm sure when they'll be able to wrap it up with a bow.
Yeah, and I give Jeff Lemire total credit. He can probably wrap this up so nicely that it won't even feel like 2 issues, and it'll be a solid. I wonder if he planned it to be 32 issues long, or if this is kind of one of those things. He's like, let's wrap it up. I got other stuff going on.
No, he said he had only 20 issues planned out, but that he used more because he said that, hey, we're keeping this an ongoing, so we're going to use as much as we want.
Cool.
Gasolina number 9, Shane Mikowicz and Nico Walter. Garrett pulled a fast one on us and told us he was getting this book last week. And so here we go, number 9. What do you think, Garrett? I like that cover. It's a weird cover because it's a gun pointing at somebody from outside, but I like the perspective of it. Yeah,
this book is freaking crazy. Like I told you before, it's like Sicario meets like kaiju. It's like there's monsters, there's like the mafia, there's all kinds of stuff. And or like Mexican cartels and whatnot. It is crazy. This, I don't want to spoil it because there's so many good things going on, but there's like a lady assassin, an arms dealer boyfriend, and shit is literally hitting the fan. There's warring factions, and there's a kid with a freaking like an alien, how the alien baby always shoots out. Well, this alien just shoots out but still attached, so it's creepy as crap. And like it just hangs out on this boy's body. Great art, great story. I can't wait to see what happens. I know I was stuttering that whole thing, but it's like there's so much content going on that I just don't want to spoil it. But I do recommend going back and at least reading the trades or go back and getting issues like me. It was definitely worth it.
Killer Be Killed number 20, the series finale. Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, Betty Breweister. The grand finale to Killer Be Killed. Will Dylan find a way to live his secret life as a vigilante, or will he throw away the mask? And was there ever really a demon, or is he just crazy? And will he or any of us get out alive? All the answers are here. Now, Alex, we've been following this thing from the beginning, and we learned about 4 issues ago, about around 16, I think, that it was ending at 20. And so we've been eyeing this last arc as the last arc. We've known that going in. And here we are at the end. What do you expect from Kill or Be Killed? Are you expecting it to, land this finish?
I definitely think it will land the finish. I think this whole team went into this book with the plan of how to finish it. I'm almost disappointed that it's ending, but I'm also slightly excited that it's done because then I don't have to drop a book. It's already being done. But I'm also, I don't know what to expect from this because at the last issue something happens and it makes me wonder what to expect from this issue.
But isn't that been kind of that whole series to, like, when you expect something else happens? So I feel, I don't know. I feel like there's potential that Dylan's going to spoilers. Someone's going to survive. I know we're trying to be spoiler free. But I think someone's going to survive, and then there's just going to be, it's kind of like Tokyo Ghost, like the sequel will happen someday, but who knows when, or maybe someone will pick up his legacy or something like that. Because you're right. I mean, or it could just be, hey, literally, kill or be killed. You do it until you can't no more. So,
Realm number 7. This is Seth Peck and Jeremy Hahn. All Johnny Eldrick wants to do is rule the world. Is that too much to ask? Now, Garrett doesn't get this more. Alex does, and I said, hey, I know you guys had some differing opinions on this book, so I said I would go back and read volume 1. I only read issue 1, but I did enjoy it. So I don't know. I'm not far enough to know if Garrett's concern was correct. But Alex is still on this book. We're on issue 7. And how's Realm? I like that cover a lot, Alex. How's Realm going on?
Last issue, I was a little concerned when Garrett dropped. I was like, man, maybe this book won't be as good. Issue 6 was probably my favorite issue. So there's a character who carries a battle axe. He gets made fun of for looking like Thor. They're going to cross a bridge. I'm going to just spoil this. He talks to these bad guys who are like, well, you either pay us what we want, we're going to kill you to cross this bridge. And so the bad guys are searching through his duffel bag, and they get a hold of this flask and they drink it. Turns out this guy used to be either in the Army or in the Marines. He had put flammable stuff in his flask. These guys drank it and they burst into flame. Was amazing. I love this book. This book I told earlier sounds like Last of Us, the way that they're traveling through this kind of post-apocalyptic world. Originally it was just to deliver some people. Now we're kind of getting into different factions and different places to go. This book is pretty great. So I think if you want to get that kind of mix of fantasy and yet post-apocalyptic, it's got a good character development as the story has progressed. I think this is a great book to get into.
Saga number 53, Brian Kevon, Fiona Staples. All it says here is, uh-oh. On the cover, we have the Will pulling up his pants or holding up his pants. He's got some blood on his knuckles. So who knows what's going to happen? Saga, as you heard from our last week's episode, our top 5. Saga is currently on a good streak. Alex is number 1, my number 3. Saga, I'm not going to say, we're at a point right now where it's like, you need to be either reading this book, like I can't give you spoilers on what's going on, because it's right now, it really is something where you read each issue and you're like, man, that was great. Like, and it's going to be that way for a little bit, I think. I don't see it wavering in its quality at all over the next couple issues, so that's good. Sex Criminals number 25. This is Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky. End of a story arc. 5 Fever discount conclusion. How have we gotten through 24 issues already and not made an exciting climax joke in the solicits? Come on, Maddie. Wake up and get your head in the game. Issue 25, No Tell. This is it's a little more expensive. It is a 25 issue number 25. I hope maybe that means for Alex's sake that it's a little longer than a normal issue. $4.99. Alex, what do you think? Sex Criminals is a book that me and you first started getting together, and I dropped it because it got delayed, and I eventually was not interested anymore because of the delays. And you stuck on board and you told me that this thing got good again and it's back on track. I think it's actually pretty consistent. I think the last few issues have came out on time. So we're on 25 now. What do you think?
I still really enjoy this book. It had gotten weird earlier in the late teens, but it's really picked up to being not necessarily a grounded book. This book is not grounded by any means, but it's gotten back to the functionality of a story. And I've really enjoyed it. I think this cover is spectacular. And seeing that Scotty Young is doing the variant, I'll probably get that as well, just to see one, if Scotty does a different artwork than his baby stuff, because that seems a little more racy than I'd expect, because generally those variant covers are kind of nudist based. I love this book. This book is so interesting in a weird effed up way.
This is Dark Horse Comics Bedtime Games #1, Nick Keller, Connor Nolan. As summer comes to an end, three friends start senior year with a bang by exploring the mysterious past of their school. But before the night is over, their adventures turns into trouble when the kids set loose an evil that seeks to prey on their worst nightmares. It's a brand new horror book from Nick Keller of Death Head and Connor Nolan from Jim Henson's The Storyteller Giants. And also Kelly Fitzpatrick, Shade the Changing Girl. This actually really looks like, and it's a mini 1 of 4, it says in the cover there. It looks like a kind of like a Goosebump-ish kind of story, like the way that the cover looks. And so if you're looking for a new horror book that, I'm not sure if it's going to be 100% serious or if it's going to be kind of light, but it looks like it'll be interesting if you're interested in the horror genre. So there you go. Bedtime Games. Modern Fantasy #1. This is Raphael Roberts and Kristen Gunstick, a young ranger woman who's come to the city with the dreams of adventure. Her drug-dealing reptilian wizard roommate and her boisterous dwarf maiden BFF embark on a modern-day quest to save the world while struggling to keep their crappy day jobs and pay off their student loans. The roommates become embroiled in danger when one of the significant others finds himself taken by criminals, and the trio must save him. This is from the creator of Hench Girl and Raphael Roberts, who did Archer and Armstrong, The Adventures of Archer Armstrong, A&A, making his Dark Horse debut. So if you're looking for something that is somebody, looks like they're working in a call center and they're daydreaming about this fantasy, and it's kind of cartoonish, so go ahead and pick that up if you're interested in that. Modern Fantasy, #1, Dark Horse Comics. DC Comics, here we go. Astro City #52. I'm really excited for this Kurt Busiek, Brent Anderson with that Alex Ross cover, as we have been from day one. The final issue of Astro City for now. Michael Technic lost his world years ago. Now he may lose another. An extraordinary life among the extraordinary takes a shattering turn. A character-focused finale to the ongoing Vertigo Astro City series, and a launch point for its new form, guest starring the Hanged Man, Honor Guard, and more. Those are characters from Astro City's past. A couple things I want to say about this. First off, that cover is beautiful. I don't think I've seen a better cover on. This is probably one of the best Astro City covers I've seen. So this is ending. They're going to go to original graphic novels only with this series. So this is the last issue that you'll see. Also, it's a one-shot. We haven't had this story before, and Astro City is great about having one-shots in their universe. So if you're interested in being like, oh, what is Astro City? What am I doing? If I want to get those graphic novels in the future, what am I getting myself into? I would say you can get this issue and read and be fine. So they're going to focus on one character. It's what Kurt Busiek does great. Garrett, I just for the second or third time finished Secret Identity by Kurt Busiek. And
nice.
It's still great, and I read it thinking, man, I haven't had a Kurt Busiek book in a while, and here we go, Astro City #52. So I'm going to get this and probably cry. Who knows? It's the end of a book, and the Kurt Busiek likes to do his one-shots where it's very character-focused and fantastic. So Bane Conquest 12/12 is the end, finally, the end of Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan's Bane resurgence. Bane, Batman, their eternal feud continues in the heart of a Cobra stronghold. Garrett, what do you think? Bane, we're at the 12/12 here. This thing's been going on for over a year, and it's finally done.
It started out really strong, And I think when we got to the 8 to 10 area, it didn't really get too good. And now it's fine. It's still decent. I thought last issue was probably the best issue out of the last half. And so I am pretty excited for this finale. I think they should have changed the title. I don't think it should be called Bane Conquest. It should just be called Bane because it's not really him conquesting anything. But that cover is fucking amazing.
I say this actually might be the strongest cover I've seen for this whole series. But I'm not caught up on it. And I think in hindsight, being 2020, I probably should have just dropped this book after issue 1.
Yeah.
It's had decent moments, I'll give it that. But for over a year of dedication on my part, I'm just like, yeah. I could have picked up other books that have been more satisfying.
I think there's something you're really going to enjoy in the last issue that will get you pretty excited for this book.
And maybe that's what the conquest will be, is what's at the end of this issue. So maybe it will pay off. I'm just being a little crabby about the over a year dedication to it.
Background number 24, Sean Aldridge and Scott Goleski. Dan Morrow on that cover. After narrowly escaping the mazes of her own mind, Batgirl swings back into action to help Jacob Cesaro, an old classmate who has recently made some bad life decisions. Alex, you still get this book, right? Batgirl?
I still get this book. It's on my stack. I've actually made 6 stacks of books right now. It's on my stack to read that I need to get caught up with. I haven't caught up. Love this cover, though.
I was going to say, Two-Face is one of your favorite Batman villains, and now he's going to be in this book. Does that make you excited to catch up on this Batgirl?
It actually does, because there's the other covers those other books look great, but it's like, oh, I don't know who these people are sometimes. I know who Two-Face is. I like Two-Face a lot. I can't wait to get caught up on this book to read this issue.
Bad Harvey. I saw a clip from the animated series. What do you call him? Harvey. What was his nickname in that show before he became Two-Face? Do you remember?
I thought it was Harvey Two-Face Harvey Dent.
Yeah, it was something else. There's something else too.
Because in the animated series, he's also the judge.
I think isn't it DA in that show?
Yeah.
Okay. Batman Beyond number 21. This is Dan Jurgens, Will Conrad, Victor Salvage on the cover. Target Batman Part 2. Garrett, Batman Beyond takes place in the future. How's this book been?
I really enjoy it. I love the animated series, and I think if you love that, you'll love this. Right now, it's introducing a new concept where Terry's brother Matt is trying to take on the mantle of Robin Beyond. And so it's the first time that Terry's ever had a sidekick, ever, since his tenure as the Batman. So it's kind of funny how you can parallel, his run as Batman to Bruce Wayne Batman's run as Batman. So it's a lot of fun, and I think if you love that Batman Beyond universe, this is the book for you. You should definitely be reading this. Gosh, so good.
Batman Prelude to the Wedding. Harley vs. Joker number 1. Tim Seeley's Sammy Basari and Raphael Albuquerque on the cover. These have been coming out. This is part 5, number 5. Is this the last one, Garrett?
Yes.
Yep.
So the last one.
Next week's the wedding.
Oh yeah, well, the last one before the wedding, we get Harley versus the Joker. What do you expect coming out of these books? Has it really just been one shots where there's nothing really consequential, or has it actually been like you should read these before you read that wedding?
I think it's in hindsight 2020, like Alex has said. Probably didn't need to get these, but it is still fun seeing how this wedding affects probably characters that won't get touched on when the wedding actually happens for the most part. There obviously will be some, like the Joker is going to be a big part of this wedding, but Harley Quinn probably wouldn't. So it's fun to see character perspectives about this big event that's happening in all these rogues' lives.
Detective Comics 983, Brian Hill, Miguel Mendoza, Eddie Burrows in the cover. On the outside, part 1, Duke Thomas, Cassandra Cain. They and other young heroes don't intend to stand down no matter what Batman thinks is best. Who can Batman trust to guide them? They need a teacher, and Black the Lightning fits the bill. This is the first start of Brian Hill's run on Detective Comics. Alex, we've been a fan of Brian Hill over on Michael Cray, and Garrett's been a fan of him on Postal. Is that correct, Garrett?
Yep.
So he's jumping into Batman Detective Comics. What do you think is going to come out of this, Alex? We're going to have focus on Black Lightning take over the team instead of Batman. Does that excite you to see this new take?
I think I'm actually pretty excited for this issue. I'm not caught up on the past 6 issues that came out, but to know that this is probably a good jumping on point, I would assume, since it's a new team or at least a new writer, it makes me excited to get back into this book going, okay, there's going to be a different taste and a different way that this book may go that it interests me to read. And to see I don't know anything about Black Lightning. I know he's got a new TV show out. I know Garrett's a fan of him. So it makes me more excited to see a character that I don't know anything about show up.
Yeah, it's really cool to see a new, obviously we just came off James Tynion's long run, so it's cool to see the start of a new saga, basically.
And I think what Alex just said is correct. If you've been eyeing this book for a while and you know what to jump in, right now is the point to jump on. Brian Hill's a good writer, and I'm excited to see what he does with this. See if he does something different or, what his take is on it. Flash number 49, Joshua Williamson and Howard Porter, Flash War Part 3. Garrett, the Flash War is on. How's it going?
It's awesome. I think, it's a great creative team, first off. Howard Porter on art, so good. And Joshua Williamson, I think, is really getting back to the great writing for the Flash that we know and love. For me, as a Flash fan in general, touching on the aspects of Wally's past, hint, hint, his kids, is super exciting. And, there's so many things that could happen that I want to see. And I don't know if it's going to happen, but this has been a fun story. It's kind of like reading, I'm not going to bring up another metaphor, but whatever. This book is incredible, and if you are a fan of the legacy of the Flash, you're going to love the shit out of this Flash War.
Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps number 47, Robert Venditti, Ethan Van Sciver, Darkseid's Rising Part 6, as Hal Jordan and the rest of the Green Lantern Corps scramble to save Guy Gardner from the Dark Star Army. John Stewart plans to say the GLC hinges on Kyle Rayner in a last-ditch effort to maintain their foothold. Now, I've seen the cover here, Garrett. I see Mr. Hammond here. How's this book going? Part 6 of this arc, and we're closing in on number 50, which is Robert Venditti's last issue. Do you feel like the last arc is leading into the 50s? Is this worth his last finale?
I think it clearly is. When you go back to the beginning when he's training whichever Tomar, is it Ray or whatever the newest one is, that you can kind of see those I can remember little eggs that it was hopefully, everyone stays good. And so when you bring Hector Hammond into the mix, which is so much fun, because all he wants to do is do good, but he doesn't understand the boundaries of that. The only thing I wish they would really touch more on is, how he controls pure willpower. I think that kind of got pushed down. So I don't, he's got 4 issues left to tell this story. I think it's been getting better, especially what happens in the last couple issues. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but are you caught up, Marvin?
No, not with this arc.
Okay, well, you need to catch up because some shit's been happening to some of your favorite characters.
Whoa, okay. Man of Steel number 5, speaking of stuff happening to your favorite characters, Brian Michael Bendis, Adam Hughes, beaten by Rogalzar, his city burning at the hands of an unknown arsonist, and the secret of what happened to Lois and John drawing closer to revelation. Even Superman feels powerless against all the stands before him. I know I just went to you, Garrett, but I'm going to throw it back to you because it's Man of Steel. How's this been going so far? We're near the end, 5 of 6, Man of Steel. Are we far enough along where you're like, Brian Michael Bendis, he's going to do okay with these Action Comics and Superman? Or are you at a point now where you're still like, I'm not sure?
I think very generally, I think he gets who Superman is. I still think he needs a lot of work on his Clark Kent. This storyline in general, though, I think it's been really interesting. And there was one part last issue that I got chills and I was like, holy shit. But I think to get me excited for what's to come. Yes, I very much am. But again, I'm kind of getting that same thing I did for like Justly No Justice. Is this threat going to be thrown off to the side for a while, or is this going to be the main threat for some time to come? And I did notice that any time that they do the flashbacks, Jason Fabok's doing the art. So I don't know if that means he's going to be on a Superman book at some point in time. I don't know. But the reveal of who, potentially took Lois or John, I was kind of let down. I was like, oh, okay, I guess. So
it seemed too obvious.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's the last person I'd expect right now, just because it's like, I thought we were done with that. So, and I don't know, I think everyone needs to read it to kind of decide for themselves, but I felt like it was playing it super safe who they reveal potentially is going to take Lois and John. So,
Mother Panic. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Well, I just wanted to chime in. I liked issue 4. I thought it was pretty good. I don't know if I trust Bendis enough yet with Superman that I'm like, I need to get action. I need to get Superman. It depends on how issue 6 of this series runs, and if it's really good and it really blows my mind, then I would pick it up. But as of right now, it's just kind of meh. It's good, but I don't know if I could go out of my way to read it.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. I think it's good, but I'm not sure if I'm interested. So like, just having it, reading it, being like, okay, like it's not bad. It's like not like I'm putting it out saying this is a bad book, but also is it enough to be like I want to keep getting this? I'm not sure. At least at this point.
Right, like was it worth like ruining Tomasi Gleason's run or like other people's runs just to tell basically a very similar story to what they were already telling? So,
Mother Panic, Gotham AD, number 4, Jody Hauser, Abraham Mustafa. Excuse me. After 6 months of learning the ins and outs of her new status quo, Violet Page decides it's time to go public. Gotham City's favorite Batgirl, Celbriantes is back. Is that the right word? But not everyone is pleased to learn of the socialite's sudden resurfacing, least of all her estranged brother, who thought he had her on ice for good. Meanwhile, the cult of the Bat begins to make moves, and there's no laughing matter. Garrett, we learned this is not going to last for a long time, but it has been going on for a second here. How's it been?
It's been so good. I said before, it's a post-apocalyptic Gotham, I mean, or I guess not post-apocalyptic, but post-Batman Gotham. Spoilers, I guess. But Mother Panic being thrown into the future and like her bringing herself to the public. Like there's been some crazy shit going on with Joker, Ratcatcher's an ally now. I mean, so many things have changed over time. But this has been really fun, and I think, it's only 6 issues, so everyone should jump on this. Plus, those covers are amazing, the art is so good, and I think a lot of people can really understand Violet Page. Like, she has been through a lot of things, and you can see where her motivations are. She's very similar to the same motivations as Batman and what she's trying to accomplish, but she just does it a little differently.
The Terrifics, number 5, Jeff Lemire, Evan Shatner. What happens when the Terrifics have to fight the whole town entirely a metamorpho? If the streetlight doesn't get them first, they'll need to save the innocent people transform into whole avatars in a world gone completely berserk. We're talking gas armies, rock monsters, orbs of raw and ancient element people to boot. Everything's possessed and crazy. Somebody call an exorcist or 4. Alex, you caught up with this?
I started reading the last issue, and we were doing the show before I got to it, so no.
Oh, well, Garrett, we're on issue... Well, you can speak to it still, Alex. How's this been going so far? We're at issue 5 here. Is it one of those Jeff Lemire titles that you're like, hey, this is pretty great?
I almost like Jeff Lemire stuff that isn't in the main 2 universes. Like this week, I know we've got another book that's coming out that I'm going to give it a try. It's good, but I've read other things that touch me more in the heart area and make me feel more attuned to just being a person. That when I read this, it's still good, but it's not one of those things that really, it hasn't caught me as quick as I was hoping it would.
Marvel Comics, we got Black Panther number 2, Ta-Nehisi Coates, Daniel Acuna, Many Thousands Gone, Part 2. from Takisi Coates and Daniel Acuno. Yeah, I know. I just read it. T'Challa is a stranger in a strange land with no memories of his past. There is only the suffering of the present and the vibranium mines of an unfamiliar empire. But all hope is not lost. Rebellion is growing and they have a plan, but who will lead the lost citizens? Where is the Black Panther? That's a great cover there. Garrett, you said we all tried this out, and issue 1, came out a couple of weeks ago. What did you think of that issue 1, and are you excited for issue 2?
I really enjoyed issue 1. It was just so much fun, so much adrenaline. It felt like a futuristic Survivor type movie. I am surprised that it's taken this long for issue 2 to come out. Like, I'm very shocked at that because it feels like it was forever ago that I read that first issue. So I'm very excited to see what happens next. And again, I feel like this book would play better as a coming out twice a month, but what do I know?
I tell you what, I think issue 1 of Black Panther is actually probably one of my favorite Marvel books I've read in a while. I mean, other than like Moon Knight, which I always like, Black Panther is one of those big name titles that really kind of brought me in. And I think a lot of it had to do with that Acuna art is amazing. Was so good, and I cannot wait for issue 2.
Garrett, actually, the last one came out the 23rd of May, so it's only been a month. So I mean, you're right. It's not like a bi-monthly book like all the rest of the books. Well, I mean, which might be good, but maybe I'm not sure if it was delayed or if that's the intent to come out once a month. But if it's an intent, maybe they're trying something different with Black Panther to let it breathe a little bit. But we'll see.
True.
Marvel 2-in-1 number 7 is this Chip Zdarsky, Paco Medina. Next of Kin begins. Powerless and lost, Ben and Johnny fight for their survival on a wasteland ruled by the Spider. Will the Spider destroy them first, or will the shocking revelations? Alex, what do you think? Marvel 2-in-1. How's this book going?
So now I haven't read the annual, and I don't know if the annual has anything to do with this next upcoming story. Anyway, I remember last issue, number 6, kind of leaving a bad taste in my mouth, and maybe it was just that the conclusion was a little lackluster. So I'm hoping that Chip is taking this next step, this next issue, and stepping up again like he had been in those first 5 issues. Because I love this book, but I was a little disappointed in our last issue. So
I was disappointed too. But I just read that annual yesterday, which was fucking amazing. You guys my ampage for this upcoming issue has gone way back up. So I hope since it's the beginning of an arc that it'll continue. It'll get back to those good issues.
Strong. Moon Knight 196.
I
know my fucking brain is just.
Moon Knight.
I think like good vibrations was where you were going, but
sure.
196. Max Bemis, Ty Templeton, stuck in a collective subconscious. Moon Knight and all his personalities. These are not bullet points, Marvel. Moon Knight and his all personalities that come with him have been subsided in the collective. Can Mark, Steven, and Jake find their way out of a fragmented mindscape? And what am I, Garrett? And the solution, even more mental.
Wow.
You're playing checkers. Moon Knight is playing brain chess. Ty Templeton is a guy whose art style is very unique, and some people like it, some people don't like it, and it's more horror-esque. So we're going to get this book here, Moon Knight. Garrett, what do you think? Moon Knight, how's it going so far? We're close to 200 issues here.
Yeah, I think this has been one of the stronger stories coming off of that first arc with Raw, it runs in the family. This one has been more focusing again back on the psyche, like what you would think that's what they always do, but this one like even more so, I think. It's fun to see how he works as a father, a superhero, also trying to tackle how he became who he is. Did it say Jason Burrows is doing the art?
No. Ty Templeton.
Okay. Well, that's right. New artist. But still, the story has been really incredible, and I'm excited to read this issue.
Issue 195, when we got the new artist, I had fallen in love with who was doing the first arc. Such good art. Then at 195, I thought, am I going to really like this issue? I loved 195, and a lot of it really was the horror-esque, and that art complements that style. So I am super amped for 196. Bring it on. Give me a little scare. Give me a little fear. Bring it on.
Multiple Man #1. This is Matthew Rosenberg, Andy McDonald. Matthew Rosenberg, Andy McDonald bring Multiple Man back from the dead. Sort of, maybe. A handful of people heard X-Men. James Madrox was alive for a while, but he was dead. Then he was dead. Now he's not. But then he will be again if he doesn't kill himself trying to make sure he doesn't die. So this is a mini-series. It's not a full, actually, ongoing. I forgot how long it is, 4 or 6 when it got solicited. But
I think it's 5.
Multiple Man, if you're interested, it comes out tomorrow. Matthew Rosenberg is a good writer. He's doing Punisher right now. He did 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank. So if you are a fan of his, or even if you haven't read his stuff before, I think this might be interested. You might be interested to check this out if you're interested in X-Men at all. Old Man Logan, number 42, Ed Brisson, Francesco Manna, the once savage killer Logan, is wounded and on the run in Savage Land. Oh, Alex! This is Kraven the Hunter, Old Man Logan. Are you caught up with this book?
I actually caught up with it before we got on the show tonight.
And what do you think? We're going into another issue of Kraven versus Logan. Is it worth it?
I totally agree with Kraven in the first issue of this arc, for the fact that he wants to go up against the original Wolverine. I want Wolverine in his prime. That's how I feel about this. Like, I feel like Kraven really could win against Logan, and I actually want Kraven to win. I think Old Man Logan's got to go. We already see that he's losing this healing factor. Kraven needs to use that to his advantage. Take him out.
Well, that's why. No, Kraven wants Logan at his most savage, and he's not going to get that. So that's why he gives Logan like a head start. And he's like, well, because you're older, I'm going to give you a head start, which I normally wouldn't give an opponent. But then he's like, then I'm coming, so you better run. And that's exciting to me. I think that's cool that even though Kraven's like, well, it sucks, but I'm still going to hunt you. So here, you get 4 hours. See you soon. And
I think Kraven stands a good chance of actually killing him. I realize it's Old Man Logan title book, so he probably won't die. But I think Kraven could give him a good run for his money.
Sentry #1. This is Jeff Lemire, Aaron Kim Jacinto. That's what Alex was talking before about Jeff Lemire picking up a book within the main 2. The Golden Guardian is back fresh from the pages of Doctor Strange, but is it really such a good thing? The greatest hero that Marvel ever forgot has returned. They didn't forget him. Fake. The Sentry Shining Sentinel with the power of 1,000 exploding suns is back from the dead, but his troubled mind is far from finding peace. I am a big critic of the Sentry. I've never liked the guy. He's never been interesting to me. He's a big whiner, and I find it weird that we have this superhero called Bob. And I've never liked him, but if anybody can turn me around the Sentry, it's going to be Jeff Lemire, and I'm going to get this book, and I think we all are. And if Jeff Lemire can churn out a Sentry story in which I say that this is a good character, Jeff Lemire might as well he can quit for the rest of the year. He's done. It's good. He's made himself the year Jeff Lemire 2018 also. So I'm excited to check this out. I don't think you guys are not used to the Sentry, right? You've been around since he died.
Yeah, I've read bits and pieces of him, but nothing substantial. The most I've read is Doctor Strange.
Yeah, same. I haven't read anything about him. Well, okay, that's not true. There's some old Jim Starlin stuff that I've read with him, but other than that, yeah, just Doctor Strange.
Old Jim Starlin stuff.
Yeah, he was in one. I read a trade or a mini, and he was involved. Jim Starlin was doing the art or writing the story.
I think this is the book that I'm kind of on I'm already on the fence of, because I don't know this character, but I'm blind buying for Jeff Lemire because I know that man can take any book and make me fall in love with it. So this is a test, like you said, Marvin, to find out if Jeff Lemire really is the best writer.
Oh. Garrett, was that something recently that he wrote or what?
No. Like in the past, it's in a collected trade of something. I'll have to think on it. I don't know.
Oh, because Sentry is a new character. He's only been around since 2000.
Yeah, I mean, it's post 2000. That's what I meant. Sorry, not like in the 70s or 80s.
Oh, okay. You just threw me off because I was like, no, this guy's fake old.
Sorry. I meant older by our standards, not by comic standards.
Thor number 2, Jason Aaron, Michael Del Mundo, Reunion from Hell, The Sons of Odin Ride Again. Alex, what do you think? Thor number 2, 1. I believe I'll speak for you right now. It wasn't that exciting, but are you excited to maybe finally get into the story with Thor number 2?
First of all, this cover looks immaculate. I really do think Del Mundo is a great artist. But like I said, for issue 1, was a little unimpressed by the art. I do want to get into this book because I really do like Jason Aaron writing Thor. I think Del Mundo has the chops to make this book good. I'm ready just to jump into it. Last we saw, it looked like it could almost be a Mad Max-esque book for what at least appeared to me. I don't know enough about this character that I was shown, so I'm amped to get into it, but I'm also apprehensive. Will this book be good?
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't really impressed by the cliffhanger either, so I'm instantly like, okay, like sure. So I'm less excited than I would have been if it would have been a better cliffhanger.
Yeah, I'm not really that pumped for this. Like I said before, if I start a review for Thor number 1, I'm not even sure if I'm getting this issue. I mean, I probably will, but just because I've been with this thing for so long, but it does not make me excited for this at all. Oh, by the way, Garrett, answer your question, because it still threw me off that Jim Starlin would have anything to do with Sentry. Then I went back and looked, and it is Sentry, but it's a different person. So Jim Starlin, Rose Story, October 20th, 2000. So everything was right about what you said, it's just a different person. Venom number 3, Donny Cates, Ryan Stegman, still recovering from his injuries. Eddie Brock, the wicked Windslinger known as Venom, has to defend NYC against the most powerful foe he's ever faced. The only thing standing his way, Miles Morales, Spider-Man. I almost said Mike. Though Eddie and his symbiote have no qualms with this particular web slinger, the same can't be said for Miles' feeling about Venom. Now, Garrett, you made a stand on the podcast a couple weeks ago, or last week, excuse me, saying that this was your dip into the Spider-Verse. You're getting this thing yourself, no more relying on hashtag GuestHost1 for the Spider-Man. How are you excited with your choice to get Venom? Is it still good?
Yeah, I read issue 2 recently, and it was so good. We, got some more story from that colonel or lieutenant that got to use the symbiote in the. See, that freaking movie screw me up saying symbiote. I can't even do it. But going over the backstory of when they were in the war and whatnot, and we're kind of getting some more mythology about the Venom dragon. I don't know if I'm supposed to feel kind of bummed that I'm not bummed that he's going to hang out with Miles Morales, but I mean, it makes sense. They're in New York, so it's not like you're just going to have the place to yourself. So, but I think the way that Donny Cates is writing this book, it's incredible and does feel like a horror book. There's really cool mythology, I think, yet to come.
I'm excited to see if he writes good Miles, so he can take over that book, because Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man was one of my favorite books when it was coming out, and it kind of lost itself along the way. So I'm excited to see this character in Donny Cates' hands and see if maybe he can inject some life back into him. Wakanda Forever, Amazing Spider-Man number 1. Needy Okafor and Alberto Albuquerque. Part 1 of the 3-part story that sees the Dorma... How do you say that? Dorma Milaje teams up with the Marvel U, the blockbuster Black
Milaje, I think.
Panther film has everyone talking about Wakanda's best warriors. Sorry, I can't say that. Now witness the Dora outside of Wakanda in Spider-Man's world. When the Dora catch wind of a Wakandian threat causing trouble in New York, they leap into action with or without their king. It's a very strange book because it's a mini. It's not ongoing, I believe. Yeah, 3-part. That's right. Spider-Man seems like a weird character to team up with the Dora. And I guess they're in New York, so maybe that makes sense. But this came out of nowhere. I didn't really hear anything about this, and now I see it on this list. And I guess if you're a fan of that movie, and if you're a fan of Spider-Man, maybe check this out. The art looks great. I mean, that's a Terry Dotson cover. I'm not sure the internal art, how that looks, but that looks good at least. Let's see here. Anything else in the... Oh, hold up a second. We cannot forget Boom Studios, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Anniversary Special #1, John Quixote, Sina Grace, Trey Moore, Matthew Groom, Michael Bustali, Miguel Visaggio, and this is to celebrate 24 years of Saban's Power Rangers, Super Art creators, as I just mentioned, and more pay homage to worldwide phenomenon with his original standalone stories set throughout the Power Rangers universe. $7.99 Alex Ross cover, it looks like. No, Steve Morris. Ooh, close to Alex Ross, though. What do you think, Alex? This is a big old... it might as well be an annual, but it's an anniversary special. $7.99, you're going to get one-shot stories throughout the Power Rangers universe. Is this something you're into, or is it something you're like, maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't be good?
See, I don't know. Well, after you named all that stuff, I was like, I don't know if I really care enough. Like, I know the collector part of me is like, yeah, I want to get it. But there's also that part of me that's like, that's $8 for something I don't know if I care about. And if it's not necessarily going to tie into Shattered Dimension or Shattered Grid, then I may not need to pick it up.
I thought the same thing. I'm still going to get it because the collector in me, it doesn't have anything to do with Shattered Grid whatsoever. But it is cool that you're getting a huge team of people that are going to tell basically like little one-shot stories within the Power Rangers universe. So I think that's definitely enough for me to want to go and grab it.
I think if you, Garrett, tell me that it's actually good and that I would enjoy it, then I would maybe go back on a week that wasn't, not that this is a busy week, but a different week, and I may pick it up.
Speaking of the week, Alex, what do you think? What looks like your pick from afar?
I don't know if I've got a pick that just like sticks out in my head. I think if I had to pick a book, it would probably be Saga 53. I just recently caught up on 50 through 52. I'm feeling the Saga train, and I'm ready for it to fill that void in my heart.
Garrett?
Yeah, that's kind of tough for me too. I don't think this is a week of ones that I'm just like, oh, I have to read this. But I am very much interested in Gasolina #9. I think I'm really loving that story. So Gasolina #9 for me. And
for me, Killer Be Killed #20, the finale of Killer Be Killed. I think it's the only one on this list that I'm like, oh, that I can't wait to read. That's going to be top of the stack and read that thing ASAP. You know what that means, Alex? As soon as possible.
Shut up. Let me do it if you're going to ask me it.
So I'm excited to read that, see where we go with Dylan. See, Alex, what does he say in Predator? Dylan, you son of a bitch?
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
So maybe we'll get that in Kill or Be Killed. Maybe that's how it ends, and that's what I'm hoping for. But Alex...
Dutch just shows up. That'd be sweet.
Instead of speaking about hope, let's speak about forecasts. What's the weather look like?
You know what? I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. It's raining. I know. If you didn't look outside, you wouldn't have known. But it's raining. Tomorrow, there may be a little hint of sunlight, but don't get your hopes up, because guess what? You think that it's actually April. It's not. It's almost July, where it should be hotter than hell. Guess what? It's wetter than the ocean.
And
get your raincoat.
Garrett, I've been seeing commercials. Domino's is filling up potholes on the road. Did you sanction that? How's the roads going?
I was actually on the other side of that. I was like, make them bigger, because we want to make sure that those historical landmarks just stay there and cause so much pleasure for people driving on their way to different places. But I think the roads, again, like I was kind of mentioning, like not even trying to think of a favorite book that I'm looking forward to for this week. I think you could take your time to sleep in a little bit. If you want to get Kill or Be Killed, that's for sure. Everything else, you could let it sit for a while and it'll probably still be there. So I think take your time. There's a lot of rain. You don't want to get those books wet anyway, so maybe go find a good umbrella before you head out the door, and boom, you're on your way.
I'm starting to think, Garrett, that I don't think you're a roadologist. I think you secretly work for a mechanic's car shop, because you want those tires to get screwed up and destroyed. You want that frame and those shocks to be destroyed. I think you're a spy. I think you're a mole.
Well, am I succeeding? Because those potholes aren't going anywhere.
Obviously, because they're getting huger.
sometimes we all live double lives. Sometimes we go throughout this world thinking and displaying one thing while meanwhile we hide another life, like Dylan and Kill or Be Killed. And sometimes we just gotta, be truthful with ourselves and show who we really are. So when you go pick up those comics tomorrow, make sure to display them proudly and don't hide your comics in a double life. My name is Marvin.
I am the truthful Alex.
I'm Garrett.
Hey everyone, stay dry and keep reading those books.